Hello there, people of the internet. Welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be we're going to be doing some questions. So I'm going to do this again, Architect Associate Exam, just to have it a little more clear. But we're going to be asking for GPT for questions from the Solutions Architect Exam. Keep in mind, this is the AWS Solutions Architect Associate Exam. So yeah, let's get started. I don't know what's frozen. Okay, let me refresh this actually. All right, so right here, so let me just paste this here. All right, let's go. Company needs to run a web application on AWS that can scale to hundreds of thousands of users. Which service should be used to ensure the application is highly available and scalable? Right. So auto scaling groups, of course, we need hundreds of thousands of users. Hundreds of thousands of users means it needs to auto scale and it needs to auto balance. So of course we can use a second one. You're storing mission critical data in Amazon S3. Which feature should you enable to protect data against access? Right. I think it's D. Let's go with D. Which AWS service enables a private dedicated connection between your VPC on your and your on-premises data center? I think it's a direct connect. The developer needs access to S3 and DynamoDB, but not to other services. What's the best practice? Use an IAM role with a policy allowing. Right, this could work. What's that now? No. B. Which RDS feature provides automatic failover and high availability of automatic failover? I think it's going to be probably multi-easy deployments. One, CloudFront. What is the primary purpose of CloudFront? That's distributing content and with low latency, right? So that's C, because it's a content delivery network, CDN. Yeah. Seventh one, we have. Okay, so the question is, which of the following automatically adjusts the number of EC2 instances based on demand? That's auto-scaling group, because auto-scaling group basically scales up or down depending on the kind of traffic that's coming into a EC2 instance. So EC2 is basically servers, and Lambda and Fargate are the serverless. So EC2 servers, of course, need a scaling group. So let's say C. Security. You need to restrict access to an S3 bucket so that the only users from a specific VPC can access it. What do you use? We could use, let's say, S3 bucket so that only users from a access control list. Yes, we can use an access control list. We can use an access control list. Let's go to 9. Which tool helps you estimate the monthly cost of AWS services? Right, so helps you estimate the estimate. Then it's basically be 10. You want to deploy a workload across multiple availability zones. Which AWS construct helps you do that? Multiple availability zones. Which AWS construct helps you do that? It's AWS regions, isn't it? Let's see. Let's see if my answers are correct. Why is GPT so slow? What the fuck? GPT is like extremely slow today. I think it's my internet. Maybe it's my internet. I don't know. This is like super slow today for some reason. Hello, can you move? I need to restrict access to an S3 bucket so that only uses from a specific VPC, right? Hello? Is anyone there? Excuse me. All right, let's use this one then. So in the meantime, because this is slow, I'm going to use this. All right, so there we go. So we have A, which is correct. Okay, so it uses Using EC2 with auto scaling and elastic load balancer ensures high availability and scalability for web apps, right? Versioning allows it, right? So versioning is what helps. Okay, so we'll get a note of this. Correct explanation. Direct connect establishes a private direct dedicated connection from your on-premises to AWS. Connect with IAM roles, multi-AZ deployments, CloudFront, auto-scaling groups. You answer B, the correct answer is C. To restrict access to S3, restrict S3 access to a specific VPC, you must use a S3 bucket policies. With the VPC endpoint connections, ACLs are right. S3 bucket policies, interesting. Right, okay. Like the policies on which IPs are allowed to access, deploy cross multiple user auto scaling. Deploying multiple AZs with a region gives multiple AZs to region gives high level. Right. That's me more. Alright, let's see. In the meantime, I'm going to look at this for now. So AI infra, full stack SaaS, no. AI infra, cybersecurity. Term frequency, inverse document frequency, right? The Euclidean distance is a way to measure the straight line, right? I'm just gonna refer to my notes in the meantime because how slow this is. Okay, so let's use this in the meantime, I guess. Question 1. A company wants to host a web application on AWS that serves static content. We can use S3 for that. S3, which is the most cost effective. Yeah, we can use S3 for static content. Solutions architect needs to design a highly available architecture that spans two availability zones, which AWS service can route traffic to healthy instances in multiple AZs. The instances. I think it's global accelerator, is it? Yeah, I think it's global accelerator. Because it's globally accelerating, if that makes sense. Company wants to restrict access to an S3 bucket so that only specific IAM users can upload. Which feature can be used? We could use bucket policy. Which storage option provides the lowest latency for accessing data in an Amazon EC2 instance? Isn't it Glacier? I think it's Glacier. A startup needs to set up a database with automatic backups and scaling. Which service should they use? Right. Automatic backups and scaling. Which service should they use? Automatic backups and scaling. Okay. I think it's... Yo, what's up, Eddie? Redshift? No, Redshift is for big data. C, I guess. Let's see the sixth one. Which AWS service provides DNS functionality, including, that's Route 53. A company is building a new application and wants to decouple the components to ensure scalability. Which service should be used? Decouple the components to ensure scalability. Step functions, isn't it? Because it divides it into different steps in a workflow. Which service lets you run a containerized application without managing servers or clusters? That's Lambda. Without managing servers or clusters. I mean, containerized application, my bad. Let's forget. So let's see. What does enabling multi-AZ in Amazon RDS provide? Multi-AZ, data replication to Amazon S3? No. That's me. What's up, Eddie? How you doing? I'm like locked in on this because I'm trying to get this like certification as soon as possible. Company wants to track API calls made to its AWS account. Which service should be used? CloudWatch, CloudTrail, API calls, right? We could use CloudWatch for this, right? I think CloudWatch is more appropriate. I don't know. Alright, this is gonna take ages. GPT is super slow today for some reason. Okay, there we go. Alright, well. Distributes in different availability zones. Right, okay. Okay, so sometimes they ask questions. What's up, Aiko? So sometimes they ask questions like they say like a completely irrelevant like description, but then it's like a completely like simple answer. Like it says, okay, so a solutions architect needs to design a highly available architecture that spans two availability zones, which AWS service can route traffic to a healthy instance in multiple AZs, right? Like this question kind of gives me like it needs to globally accelerate, right? But then it's actually load balancing. So, I mean, it's a simple answer, but it's a very complex looking question. So, bucket policy. Bucket policies are the best way to control access to specific S3 buckets and operations. Right. Provides low latency block storage. Okay. So use EBS for this. Aurora skill. Okay. See, for other questions, forget to run. But really? Oh, what? I think I got something wrong here. Anyways, let me go back here. Let me try to get some questions from you. Okay, well, I'll use this one then. Yep, this is bugged out today. Okay, there we go. High availability web app. The company is hosting a dynamic web application on a single EC2 instance in one availability zone. The application stores user uploaded files to the local disk. The company is concerned about high availability and durability. What should a solutions architect recommend? Okay. The company is hosting a dynamic web application on a single Amazon EC2 instance in one availability zone. The application stores user uploaded files to the local disk. The company is concerned about high availability and durability. Okay. What? Okay, so dynamic web application on a single EC2 instance in one user uploaded files to the local disk. Right, okay. So let's say should be a cost optimizations for data analytics. Data analytics application stores files in Amazon S3. Files are accessed frequently for the first 7 days, then rarely afterwards. The company wants to optimize costs without sacrificing availability. I think S3 Glacier. I think Glacier works like that. VPC design, you're setting up your new VPC for 3-tier application. You want to ensure that the application servers in the private subnets can download software updates from the internet, but cannot be accessed from the internet. Net gateway. You need a net gateway in a public subnet and then route it to, private subnet to traffic it. So this API, startup is launching a RESTful API with unpredictable traffic patterns. They want to avoid provisioning and managing servers. Which combination of servers should be right? So we of course need Lambda, right? We need Lambda, and we also need provisioning. Autoscaling. No, autoscaling is for EC2 instances. So avoid provisioning and managing servers. So then it needs to be, I think B and, because is it managing servers and provisioning, right? So provisioning comes under, I think E should work. I think. Data encryption. A company storing sensitive documents in Amazon S3. Compliance requirements state that the data must be encrypted at rest using AWS Key Management Service. Secure SSE is a secure service. No, I don't remember what SSE is. It's not client-side encryption. I think it should be SSE S3. Let's see. Something wrong with this. Yep, it's kind of slow to be honest. Okay. Hello? It's been stuck for a while. I want to see if there's any big hits. No, this is not OpenAI. Yeah, it's like still stuck. Oh well, we'll keep this on the side, I guess. Just in case it starts to load again. So in the meantime, don't mind that. We'll do some cloud work. Alright. So routing table. So a routing table is like what controls the inbound and outbound traffic. So stable database within the router. Oh, okay. Right. So wait. Routing controls inbound, outbound traffic. Right. So what is routers making make effective routing decisions? Okay. State where packets, where data packets should be sent to reach their destination. Let's say this routing table is a database within a router or other network device that stores information about how to forward data packets to their destinations. Interesting. This doesn't seem like it's working. Was there any questions? Okay. Are these new questions? What just happened? Okay, well, we got some new questions. Okay, company runs a CRM application on auto-scaling group of on-demand and EC2 instances. Usage spikes every morning at 9 a.m. when users log in and levels off at, right. Auto-scaling group on, right. Users log in and levels off by 11 a.m. Which is the most operationally efficient solution to handle this? Right, so we can do I think C should work. VPC, private instances and internet access. Manage a 3-tier web app in a VPC. The application servers are in private subnets and need to pull OS patch updates from the internet regularly. Servers are in private subnets, right? But cannot receive inbound traffic. Right? Cannot receive inbound internet traffic. Application servers are in private subnets and need to pull OS/patch updates from the internet regularly. Net gateways. So, version and gateway enable, right? BNA, A and B. High availability with private IP failover. Monitoring application runs on EC2 instances using private IP for address. You need to ask for a failover solution if this instance becomes unreachable. No public IPs can be used. Here runs EC2 instance using a fast failover solution. No, I don't think it's any of this. Should be A. I'm not sure about this question. Predictive scaling based on historic. Right, okay. A and B, okay, that's right. High availability with private IP failover. Right. Right, okay. So let's go back. But actually, let me... okay. If this is associate level, imagine like the higher levels. It's probably like extremely complex. Yeah, let's go back to... okay, we'll be like... Assuming this is gonna get stuck for some time, I will go back to my original notes, which is over here. So of course we know EC2 servers, so let me just draw this so it makes more sense. So, okay, so EC2, when you say EC2, it's servers, okay? And serverless is Lambda and Fargate, okay? So let me just draw this so it makes more sense. So first of all, we have EC2, right? EC2 means EC2 servers, okay? Remember it like that. EC2 servers, and then you need servers. Lambda and Fargate, okay? This you don't need servers, okay? This is like basically event driven, okay? Event driven means like it's like functions. We'll do this and then do the next event, and then do the next event, and do the next event, right? So in Fargate, it's containerized. In other words, like Docker containers. Docker is like to avoid any dependency issues and all that. So like pretty much you're containerizing applications with Fargate. So both of them are serverless, so it doesn't require servers. EC2 servers, okay? EC2 servers, which means you need to care about servers. In this, it doesn't mean there's no servers. It just means that you don't need to worry about the servers. You can just deploy it and then like go. You know what I mean? In this, you need to like configure the servers as well, EC2 servers. But in EC2, there's this thing called an auto scaling group. Now, an auto scaling group is nothing but when like automatically scale means up or down, groups, okay? Groups, don't mind this. So basically, what this means is like when this has a lot of traffic, like EC2 instance, okay, so the one with the servers, EC2 servers, let's call it EC2 servers because it's servers, right? So when EC2 servers have traffic, it scales up. when EC2 have servers have less traffic, it scales down. When it when it's at a like a middle amount, it will stay there, right? So it would automatically go up and down depending on the requirement. So then we have what else? So yeah, we have security groups. Okay, security groups on like this is not auto scaling groups. Okay, security groups. This what it does is it controls the inbound and the outbound traffic. That means inbound is coming in and then outbound is going out. Sorry, this is the other way around. So inbound is coming in and the outbound is going out. Okay, inbound and then outbound going out from it. So pretty much as you can see, they're like firewalls, okay, to control traffic for nothing but EC2 servers. So this is keep in mind, this is for EC2 servers. Okay, that means the one that require server configuration, not the one that don't require server configuration. So you need security groups, and that controls this inbound and outbound traffic, and that's coming from EC2 servers. That's why I call it EC2 servers. Okay, so then we have static IP for your public static public IP for your server. So this needs a static IP. Okay, I'll get back to what this definition is in a bit. 1 second. So okay, this is not necessary. Okay, so we're gonna also do something interesting. Okay, so a star, if you have seen a star, like let's think of a star like a half broken star. You know, like let's say a star glows like this, right? In the middle, you know how like everything comes together and sort of connects, right? A star network is basically like everything comes together and connects in the middle. Okay, and then a bus is like one way, okay, going up like forward. Then we have a mesh, which is like interconnected with each other, like, you know, like this, which means it's just like a mesh. It's interconnected with each other. Then we also have, which one? Ring. Okay, so ring is just a ring, like a circular one. Okay, circular connection. So these are basic like cybersecurity stuff. So ARP spoofing is something they do once they get access to. So let me explain something. So there's a VPC, which is called a virtual private cloud. Now, regardless of if it's like a EC2 servers or serverless, you still need to use a VPC. So VPC have two types of subnets. So it divides into two, like this, called public subnet. Okay, so public means you can access from the public, and then private subnet, which is you cannot access from the public. So there's this thing called an internet gateway. So the internet gateway is the one that helps it communicate outside, and the security groups, like I said, inbound and outbound traffic, it's allowed because of internet gateway from the public subnet. This by default, private subnet by default doesn't have any access to the outside world, right? So the internet gateway, okay, you can create this thing called a network address translator, which is also called a NAT gateway. And then from that you can allow this through putting the NAT gateway on the public subnet, you can create this thing called a routing table, I think. And then once you create that, then you can you can now access the internet from the private subnet as well. This one is not allowed to access the internet by default, right? So this one is the one that gives out information and takes in information as well. So it's called inbound and outbound traffic. So to control this, right? So we use an internet gateway. So let me show you something. So what was I going to show? So this one, okay. So either way, we have this thing called, like I said, I'm going to get back to this, security groups, right? So these are the ones these are like firewalls. Firewalls are nothing but stuff in the middle that control the traffic, that are like middleman controlling traffic, right? When you make a request, this is called a TCP request. So this is a middleman sort of saying, okay, this is good to go, or no, this is not good to go. So the security group is like a firewall. It controls the inbound and the outbound traffic. Okay, so like it controls what can be done and what cannot be done when you make a request or when someone else makes a request. So that's the first aspect of it. And then you can find these. So a switch, let me explain what a switch does. Okay, so a switch basically connects devices to a network. So like let's say this is your network. A switch is the one that connects devices, like individual devices. So let's say this one is not a device. It connects them to the network, right? This is the network, so just call it net. And then we also have what else? Firewalls, like I said, inbound and outbound traffic. So inbound and outbound traffic. And apart from that, we also have okay, so the router, right? Router connects, so local area network is like your local network, right? Like your connection, like what's inside your connection. The local area network, it connects it to the internet. Then that's done through this thing called a router. Okay, a router. And then we also have this thing called a hub. A hub is basically like, think of it like the, what do you call it? The switch. The switch is the one that connects it to the network, right? Connects devices. So this is a device. So connects it to the network. So a hub is one that doesn't, it doesn't share, like it shares a lot more information. Like it pretty much just openly tells, okay, so this is connecting, this is connecting, this is connecting. So it's like a dumb switch basically. So a dumb switch is a hub. And we have access points. So access points are nothing but wireless access points, or called WPA. So wireless access, WAP, right? So wireless access points are basically like how you have Wi-Fi, pretty much. So it's a access point is just a opening, right? Think of it like an opening for a wireless network. So that's what we use. See wireless network entry point. You can read through this as well. So TCP is when you make a normal request like this, it's TCP, right? But if you were live streaming on YouTube, it's UDP. Okay, that's all you need to remember. IP addresses and subnetting, so you can divide